Okay, so we're on the wireframing and we are getting ready to do the design exercise for assignment 2. So go ahead and click on this last link here to access it. And assignment 2 is create a storyboard. So create a storyboard. Spend about 20 to 40 minutes writing or sketching the steps that your customers will take or experience when using your product. For example, if you want a visitor to visit the website to see the company logo first, to start understanding their brand, in book writing, this may be at the exposition, introducing the setting and characters. Basically, this is what you want to see, the first take at it. Consider what your customers to see. Consider what you want your customers to see and in what order. If you're completing these design exercises in sequence, which we are, use your design brief from the last section and organize your ideas and information into the story. Use text, shapes, and images to create a story using the frames in this file. Consider this a sketching phase of design. I have a dog that's making it a little hard for me to do this. You're focusing on how your customers will engage with your product, not the visual polish. Don't focus on the color and font choices or laying out the design elements yet. Instead, try using the basic shapes and text. If you are designing a phone app, your first storyboard frame may be the home screen of the app, and the second storyboard frame is the desired action that you hope they take. Consider what you want your customers to see first, and then use shapes and text boxes to create that here. Spotty, stop, lie down. So if you intend to design for a mobile phone, you may want to change the size of these frames to match. There's a frame drop down in the top right that appears when a frame is selected. You can use this to change the size or the shape of the frames. When you're finished, press the present button in the top right corner to see each frame of your storyboard in order. If you're looking for specific feedback on your customer flow, ask for it directly on the Figma community on that. There's a share button in the top right corner, which is how you're going to submit your stuff to me. More about storyboards. So a storyboard is a visual organization of your ideas and structure of a proposed experience in the form of illustration, images, or screens. They're great tools for explaining how a customer will progress through your product on their journey, but they are also incredibly useful for sharing your vision. So storyboard is used often in television, film, and animation. Websites and applications are often designed or planned with storyboards and wireframes. The difference is subtle, but usually storyboarding better captures the experience that a customer would feel. So let's go ahead and open up Figma again. And so okay, and on the top right corner is the little plus symbol. We're going to click on that, and it's going to open up a new file for us. Spotty, honey, lie down. Go. And we're going to create a storyboard. Let's see. So unless you have something else that you're working on, it is going to be the Hakeem College bookstore. So let's go ahead and click on the right-hand side. I believe it's prototype. And let's think for mobile first. So let's do an iPhone 11 Pro Max. Okay. And then I think we can just select a frame. Okay, and then, so my bad, I got this backwards. Select the frame. And on the right-hand side, prototype. Again, mobile first. iPhone Pro Max. There we go. Okay, so I did that backwards. So it's frame and then select the prototype. So let's do this build from, like I said, for mobile first. And let's look to see at what the normal Hakeem College website does. So I'm going to hit Control-Shift-I. And I'm going to change the responsiveness to, all I have is iPhone X. Let's do iPhone X. Okay. So I'm moving the stuff around so that I can kind of see everything I want to see on one screen. And that may or may not work. Want to close out this. No, that didn't work. I'm going to pause this while I try to figure out how I want to set this up. Okay, I don't know there's going to be a good way to set this up on this one screen on the Microsoft Surface. So we're just going to have to grin and bear it, so to speak. So I'm doing Alt-Tab to go back and forth between these two because that's my personal preference. If you prefer to have them on the same browser and different tabs, that's fine. But my personal preference is usually to just Alt-Tab, okay? Just as a heads up. So you can see the first thing that they're going to have whenever it's on a smaller screen, whenever we're designing for mobile first, is the logo with the menu hamburger button. So let's go ahead and right click on that again, copy image like we did before, and just paste that right. That didn't work now, did it? Let's try this again. Right click, right click, copy image. It's not wanting to remember what I want it to remember. If this doesn't work, I'm going to do this another way. It's not going to do it. Oh, it did it. Okay. So I finally got the image to copy instead of the link. So when I click on, I have the image selected. So let's go ahead and give it a name. So on the left-hand side, we can name it. I'm going to name it Hakeem College logo. Okay. And these are not particularly like PNG or JPEG files. These are just representation of a storyboard. We don't have to worry about file formats. I can name it whatever I want. So I have Hakeem College logo selected on the right-hand side, like we did before. I'm going to change the sizing of it so it's more mobile friendly. Nothing has to be exact. We're not going to play with specifications that much. We just want to kind of give an idea of what it's going to look like. So I'm going to, that looks good right there. And then we are going to add, I was wanting to think there was a hamburger button in here somewhere. I want to pause this to see if I remember correctly or not. Okay, there may be a hamburger button in here that I'm not finding. Figma is a pretty cool tool, and I don't know everything there is to know about it. But if this is something that you want to take a deeper dive in outside of our assignments, more power to you, especially, like I said, if you're more of the design nature. But let's see. So we're going to do some hacky little shortcuts. Again, this is not functional. It's just for aesthetics and make sure that the layout is what we want it to be. So I'm going back into the Hakeem.edu website, which is the one we want our Hakeem College bookstore website to, resemble more of. And everybody should have a snipping tool. If you don't, I'm going to close this out. If you don't have a snipping tool, if you don't see it down here, just in your search area, type in SNIPP, and you should see a snipping tool app. Excuse me. And then you can pin it to this menu bar or whatever it's called down here. But it's a handy little tool. I use it a lot. So I got my snipping tool open, and if you're on a Mac, I don't know what it's called. Um, so click New, and then we're just going to copy this little menu thing. And I'm going to hit copy. I'm going to go back to Figma and hit paste that. Okay. And maybe a little bit smaller. Okay, so let's go back to this right here. So this is where the design starts coming into play. So let's look at the other pages. This is the home page, obviously, of the Hakeem College website, but let's see what it looks like if they go to athletics. Okay. It also looks different. Wow. Well, kind of, sort of. I would have kept that green. That's just me. Um, but the basic structure seems to be the same. I got like a banner heading up on top, and then you got a big picture in the middle, and then you have some information. Okay, that seems to be the general structure that what they have here. And with them some buttons, some call to actions there. So let's look at another page to see if anything looks a little bit different. Blackboard will take you to Blackboard. Web Advisor will take you to Web Advisor, which is not part of it. So let's look at majors. Okay, this is more cohesive to the Hakeem College website. It's got the green banner. It's got, okay, let's mimic this one. So I want to hit Control Shift I, and let's see how it does this. So we already got this part up here. It looks like there's some shadow. I'm not going to worry about the shadow right now. But Hakeem College major. So let's do, so there's probably some cool designs, like this has this whatever, that's kind of a cool design. I'm not going to worry about that right now, as I am just like the structure of it, the storyboard of the flow for the user. So Hakeem College majors, we're going to not do Hakeem College majors, obviously. So let's do a shape tool. It's going to be rectangle. And I'm just going to put that right there. And just realized I probably could have done this a different way. But going on, continuing. Sorry. So we're doing the shape tool, and I just made a little triangle, or I'm sorry, a little rectangle there. And let's give us some names here. So on the left-hand side for image, for the menu button, we're going to name that menu button. And for the rectangle, we're going to name it, let's see, background for heading. Sure, that sounds good. So now let's add some text. So what we wanted to say is, I think they're going to rename it to Hakeem College Spirit Store. So let's go with that. So I click on text, and let's do Hakeem College Spirit Store. I'm going to all spirit. Okay. So now let's start playing with some of the stuff on the left-hand side. You know, we haven't been worried about too much about aesthetics. We were just trying to get the storyboard kind of going and the flow. But that's too small. We don't want to keep it like that. So let's kind of start looking at the right-hand side of the design. So this is fine. This right here, I probably don't want it to be that color. I'm thinking more of the Hakeem College blue color, which is for my purpose, I am going to do the color picker thing. That's not what I'm wanting to do, sorry. Oh, what am I wanting to do? Hakeem College. Okay. What we probably could have done is create this new frame on that design, the mood board, the first thing that we did. And that's my bad. That's probably been a better way of doing this. But we didn't. So moving on. Where's that blue? Okay. Let's do it this way. I'm just open up another tab for Figma. And it's going to bring up this recent files. And I have the information there. Okay, so the blue is that color right there. So I just want to copy, if I can, shoot. Or just type it. Or, sorry. Where is the stupid blue? I want to pause this because I know. Okay. All I'm trying to do is to get that blue hex code. That's all I'm trying to do. So I can't find it here in this, but I can use color picker to grab it out of the logo. So I got that, and then I'm clicking on that, and it gives me the color that I want. So now I'm going to go back into here, and now I'm getting, all I wanted was to get that blue color. And to go in here, and I got this gray square clicked, and on the design on the right hand side, you'll see where there's a fill. And right now it's that gray color, but I can just paste that hex code that I just copied, and then there's the blue. So let's do the same thing for the text that we have right here. So I select the text, and if you're having trouble grabbing the particular element that you're looking for, like for some reason, if I couldn't get the text and it kept grabbing the rectangle, you just select it right here, and it does the exact same thing. So select the text, the Hakeem College Spirit Store, and on the right hand side, you can change the font. I'm going to change the font size to maybe not that big. That works. And I want to change it to white. And there's some other effects that I could do. Like a drop shadow. That's kind of cool. I want to leave it at that. Okay, so that's good enough for right now. So let's go ahead and go back into here and see. So it says, so we got the basic structure. It's got the heading, it's got the menu, it's got the color, and then it's got the information. So now let's talk. It looks like we got the basic structure pretty much laid out. Now we just need to do the information. So Hakeem College, let's have it open somewhere else. Yeah, I do. Okay. So the basic information, let's start with the categories. Textbook lookup, let's not do that one. Clothing, gifts, hats, technology, supplies. So let's do this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do those 5. And let's go back to Figma. And let's go ahead and trying to think. We could do them across, but that's probably too much to go across. So let's go down. So let's do just another text. We're going to keep this on a white background. And you can see my size is still 64, so let's change that to smaller. And what were the things that I wanted? Let's start with clothing. So clothing and gifts, hats, technology, supplies, and tote bags. Gifts, hats, technology, supplies, tote bags. Okay, so let's see. We have the items that we're going to put on our app here, on our website, mobile device thing. And I want the font to be a little bit bigger. So let's go ahead and select that. And let's do something like 18. And there we go. Okay. And clothing, hats could probably be under clothing. Let's see if there's any way that we can kind of restructure this. So hats, I'm going to say hats goes under clothing. So I'm going to get rid of hats. And I'm hitting the wrong button. Tote bags, I think could go under gifts. Because you got to remember, space is at a premium on the smaller devices. So if there's anything that could be redundant, that could be, in one category, let's do it on that. So clothing, gifts, and technology supplies. I think that's probably a good way to kind of keep it concise. And let's see what else was on the bookstore. Shop or hawk. So we want a place for it to shop. And click on the link. Let's go ahead and put the new items this month because we want that to kind of capture their attention so that they know that, whenever they're visiting the website, I'm going to go ahead and close this one. Don't need that anymore. Whenever they're visiting the website, it's not always going to be the same thing. So we have the Hakeem College Spirit Store on the top, and then we've got the 3 different categories. Even though we have less, maybe we could put it across, but I'm still going to go with the top down. That could change later on. So now let's do whatever this update was. Getting new items. So I'm going to go ahead and do another rectangle. Just to give it some distinction on the layouts and the colors. And I am going to, what am I going to do? I want to make this like the orange color. So I'm going to do this color picker again. And I'm going to go right above that orange just to give me something. I don't think that was what was the other one, but again, it's not going to be perfect. It's just to give me something. Once we start actually building this, we need to be more exact on it, but for our purposes, this is fine. So now on this, I want to give it some other kind of characteristics on this block. So on the right-hand side, let's do stroke. Is there anything I can do with stroke? I think that's more for font. I don't think that, well, no, that did like a border is what that does, and I don't want that. Okay, what about effects? That's what I was looking for, drop shadow. So let's see what a drop shadow does on this. Okay, I like the drop shadows, so I'm going to stick with the drop shadow. So what did our content say? That color picker's following me. Hit escape to get rid of it. So we are getting new items this month. So I'm copying that, going into Figma, opening up a text, and hold up. Okay, need to make this smaller so it doesn't overlap. So let's do that. Okay, now click on Okay, text. And we're going to go ahead and create it. And I'm going to paste this in here. So we are getting new items this month. So I'm going to go ahead and customize this. So it's a little bit better, bigger font. It's centered. It's centered based off the text box. So if I want to be centered on the square, I need to make it, so it's even. If I want it to be centered, whatever center is. Want to put it in down in the middle. Again, it's based off the text. So wherever I want middle to be. You can also do it on the bottom, as you can see, but I'm going to do mine middle. Let's see, the stroke is like the border. Let's look at effects. No, I don't like it on the text. That's not what I wanted to do. I hit the wrong one. Let's see. No, I don't like that. That's okay. Don't really know what it does, but that's okay. So there we go. So let's go ahead on the left-hand side. Let's give it some names to our little elements that we're putting on here. So rectangle is the orange rectangle. So let's go ahead and give it a name of orange background. That works for right now. And what else does it have on here? So it talks about Hakeem College bookstores changed to the Spirit store. Okay, so I was right on that. The store continues to offer clothing, yada yada. Online purchases. All student textbooks and course materials are provided to students in their classroom. Okay, so it looks like it's Hakeem College Hawk Spirit store. So that's something I think I need to correct. Hakeem College Hawks. Let's spell Hawks. And I'm just going to make this my font a little bit smaller. So this is what we were talking about, the size on your text space there. Let's make this a little bit over here. Okay, that works. Okay. So this is like the initial page that they'll go to whenever they access the Hakeem College bookstore online. So that's the initial page. And we can see on, we go click on prototype. We can see what's going to look like in like landscape. Maybe. No, that's if we were designing. My bad. Sorry. There's a way to do it. I think it's here. Preview, represent. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like when somebody opens it up on their iPhone 11. I think this is what the prototype for. So just looking at here, where iPhone has this stuff up here for the camera, maybe we need to kind of think about bringing this down a little bit because it kind of overlays over that. Let's see. Let's go ahead and let's see. I think click right there to stop it. Yeah. And see what would it look like with landscape? Probably not very good. Not very good. So that's something to consider, but that's a further on down the road kind of consideration. That's not our focus point. So let's look at, say, an iPad mini and hit present. Okay, So that's something to take in consideration. We built this mobile first, okay? So that means it's the size for mobile first. It does not have the responsiveness that websites need to have whenever you're building them for various different screen sizes. So this is something to note. And let's see. And it's going to be just like that if we were on, oh, let's do an Apple Watch. I'm curious what this will look like on an Apple Watch. Okay, looks like that. Okay, so we're designing this based on a mobile first mentality, where we're doing it for a mobile size. And it's not worrying about the codiness and the responsive webness size and the changing of different sizes later on. But if our target user is probably going to be looking at this on their phone, which more likely they're not than not, they will, then we're going to build it based off of that. If it was going to be a website that most people will be looking online, like, oh, I'm sorry, like on a desktop or laptop, they would be building based on that. So this is kind of like the storyboard, one frame. Let's go ahead and like if they go into like when they first access it, let's go ahead and take a deeper dive into clothing gifts. Well, we're just going to do one as an example, but the same principle will follow for the rest of this. So what we're going to do now is let's go ahead and give this frame a name. Somewhere there's a way you can name it. There we go. All right. I'm going to do this home screen. Okay. So what we can do, we can actually take this and Control C and Control V, and we have a duplicate. So we don't have to do everything from scratch. So let's go to home screen, the second one, and this is going to be our clothing screen or clothing page. So what's going to happen is somebody's going to click on clothing, like they want to check out the clothing, and it's going to take them into a separate page. Well, it could be a separate page, or it could just be a page, the same page that just expands, and you can now see the clothing. For our purposes, it's going to go to a second page. So what I want to do, just to make sure that people know this is clickable, this is a link, I am going to give it the aesthetics of it being a link. Trying to do just this one. And go back to design. And I'm going to put, just pick a blue color. We can make it the correct hyperlink color later on. And let's see, that's not what I wanted. Nope. This is what I wanted. Okay. So under text, if you click on those three little dots, the ellipsis, I think is what the correct terminology, three little dots. You click on that, and then there's a decoration I was looking for was underline. Okay. That's them to all, that's fine. They're all links, but whatever. What I probably should have done was done a separate text for each individual item, but this works, it serves its purpose. So we're telling our user, it's like, hey, this is a link. Well, let's give it another little signifier. Let's go to the shapes and let's do a polygon. And let's do it like right there. But I want it to be upside down. So somewhere we can turn this. There we go. And this is a signifier of, it's like, hey, this is going to do something. Like this will expand. It's like if we were doing the list of items as an expansion, or we can just do it on another page and our user probably won't care if it's an expansion or another page. So let's go ahead and make that color, let's make it the Hakeem College orange. Yeah. Make it a little bit closer. That works for right now. So what's going to happen when they click on this, we are going to get rid of that and probably going to leave that, and we're going to leave this. So let's look at the Hakeem College bookstore webpage and see what happens when we click on clothing. It's going to give us our shirts, and so on and so forth. So let's look at something like a website like Amazon. And let's look up shirts. Okay, this is how they do it. So we can, well, I kind of rather mimic something like Amazon as opposed to this. Yeah, I just would rather do that. So let's look at this from the smaller screen size. Okay, so it hasn't changed in the format of it. It's just smaller. Most people will go to the app. So you can see it's got a square, it's got the picture of the shirts, and it's got information about the shirts underneath. So let's mimic that. So, excuse me. I'm going to bring this down a little bit. Just give us some more space. Maybe. I bet. There we go. And I'm going to do the rectangle again. I'm just going to try something. I don't know if you want to keep it or not. Excuse me. I'm still going to do white background, but I want the effects to have the drop shadow. So we'll see how that looks. Okay, there's a bit of a shadow there. I'm going to keep it like that. So now let's do another square. Let go. Why are you on there? Hit escape. Okay. Let's do another square. Or rectangle, sorry. And something like that. And it's going to be white background. And I still want the effects to have a drop shadow. And let's go to the clothing. Let's copy that, right click, copy image, go to Figma and paste that in there. So I got the image selected. Well, it looks like I accidentally mixed up my clothing page and my home screen. So I'm going to fix that before we get in just a second. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, okay, that's funny that I did that. So click on the image. We have the image, select it. And I'm going to resize this to maybe, let's see, try 100. What's my rectangle size? Not that rectangle. Do I still have a rectangle there? It's that one. I want to get rid of that. I want to try something because I think I got ahead of myself. So I'm going to do background white. I'm going to go ahead and fix, I got these little screens mixed up. I'm going to change home screen to clothing page and clothing page to home screen. Okay. So that fixed that. I'm going to try this again. Rectangle. Build the rectangle. I want the rectangle to be, want to make it a little light gray instead of white. Just make sure I can see it. Effects, we drop shadow still. And then I'm going to try to do this again. Okay. And try to, so it's, I'm placing it on top. That's what it's doing. So I got rectangle one. So I'm going to do that gray square. Okay. So I don't want to lose my gray square when I'm doing this. Copy image. Right click, or just hit Control V. That's what it's doing. I want my gray square to be, continue to be a gray square. And it's changing it to an image, and that's not what I want. You can see that on the left-hand side. I'm going to hit Control Z to undo that. I want to paste my image somewhere else. I did the same thing there. Let's try to do this a different way. Ow, 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 ow. May not be able to do what I want. Gray square. Let's do place image. I didn't really want to save the image, but I may have to. So let's go ahead and right click, save image as. Let's see what this is under. This is HTML. Green shirt, blue. Now let's try this. Image. Let's find it. And let's see what it does when I paste it on there. It still replaces a gray square, gray square, which is not what I want to do. Let's hit if I can try this way. And right now I'm probably obsessing over something that's not worth obsessing over, but I still am. So I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit smaller, shrink it. And it's not cropping it, which is good. But if you look on the right-hand side, when I click on this, and on the right-hand side, and on fill, if I click that little plus symbol, it gives me some options. I'm trying to figure out if that's an option that I want. Yeah, I don't think that's an option that I want. Okay. This is not worth obsessing over right now, just something that we're going to fix later on. So going back to Amazon's example, they have the name of the t-shirt, what it is, and the price. We're just going to stick with the name of the t-shirt. What does all have? The name of the t-shirt and the price. We can be more descriptive later on. Is to stick with the name of the t-shirt and the price. So click on text. We are going to add one text box, and it was called what? Hakeem College alumni shirt. Okay, obviously that text is too big. Let's change this. Do something like 10. Hakeem College alumni t-shirt. And we're going to copy and paste. And you can see it's doing it on this left-hand side here. And we are going to, if I can grab it, drag it. And I'm going to put the color is royal blue. and then copy and paste, drag it underneath, and that's not what I wanted. Drag it, nope, not what I wanted. There we go. And how much was it? $11.25. Okay, so that's all the information we're going to put right there. This is going to be just like the simple view, like when you shop at Amazon. Like whenever you see a thing at Amazon, unless you're doing Prime, you don't see where you can buy it now. It goes to a shopping cart or something like that. So we're just going to do like basically somebody can see the stuff that they have there. So let's do another one. Let's do something different. Let's do the ladies tank tops. So we're going to copy that image, and we can just copy of it because what I was trying to do when I saved it just wasn't working. Undo that. Okay. Let's do that gray square again. So I'm on the left side, and it got gray square. Click on that. Control C and Control V, and I got another gray square. I just need to move it over. I'm going to do 2 per row. We can change this later on. And now I'm going to hit this tank top, right click, copy image, go back to Figma, and can I do a replace image? I'm just going to hit Control V and see what it does, and it replaces it, which is good. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing as I did here. Control C, Control V, and I'm going to drag it over. And you can see the alignment is pretty easy to follow. You can see how your alignment checks out. And this is what the tank top, Champion Ladies tank tops. Champion Ladies tank tops. Tank top. Let's do that. And what else did they have as a descriptor? We'll just do it. Available in royal blue, green, gray, and black. So I want to copy that. Control C, Control V. Not what I want it to do. Control C, Control V. There we go. So you can see, you can zoom in. So I don't know why I'm not zooming in. Royal blue, green, gray, or black. Make that a little bit. See if that helps any. Okay. And well, how much was it? It was $16.87. That's a weird price. $16.87. I don't know. Okay. So I can zoom. Oh, I lost it. Okay. So we got 2 examples of it here. And this is what it's going to go to. So this is what we're going to present to someone, who's wanting us to redo the Hakeem College website mobile first. We're going to show what's going to look like on the mobile device. This is, you saw earlier. Oh my gosh. Is there another way I can do this? There, on the top right. Zoom to 100. There we go. So if we were somebody, asked us to redo Hakeem College's Hawk's Spirit Store, and we're going to design it mobile first for people, because that's going to be our primary customer base as they're using it on mobile. This is what we can present to them as our design. And if they like what we're doing so far, like the colors, the formats, taking out some of the categories, and so on and so forth, then we can continue to build upon it. So, so what we're going to do now, so clothing was going to go to this page. The clothing link here was going to go to the clothing page here. Okay. So the way we do that is, it can work with a button. I may still have to separate these. I have a feeling I'm going to, maybe not, or click on that little arrow. But the way it's going to work is once you click on that and you click on prototype, it's going to show an interaction. So the interaction is whenever it's on a mobile, it's not going to be mouse or anything like that. It's going to be, I think, on tap. And it's going to navigate to, and it's going to go to the clothing page. And you can see that line. Yeah, what I should have done is done these separately. But that's okay for our purpose. And it's going to go to this page. So it's going to be instant. We have some other options, but we're going to do instant. And let's go ahead, and we want the device to be iPhone because that's what we built it on, the iPhone 11. So let's go ahead and hit present. Okay, so what's our user's going to do, they're going to click on clothing and it's going to go to this page right here. And this is our prototype. This is our prototype that our storyboard. I think I kind of took a deeper dive than what this should have done for this particular exercise. But, the storyboard, going back to the storyboard of this whole thing is like, what we want our users to see. I just got out of this. Okay, what we want our users to see whenever they first go to the Spirit Store website, and what the interaction is like for, like, maybe our customer won't, maybe Hakeem College won't like the fact this little arrow, or they won't like this, or they won't like that. But we're able to see what they want. And we're able to, like the storyboard, to be appealing, have the aesthetics. It's got the Hakeem College, couple of the Hakeem College colors. Make sure it's easy for the user experience to understand what it is that they're going. And it has some sort of appeal, has easy accessibility on the menu. And like I said, when you click on clothing, it goes, takes them to some options there. So I think I did take a little bit deeper dive than I should have for storyboard. And I don't know how long this has been recording, but you saw how long it took me to do this. So just 2 items is fine. 2 frames is fine. And the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. I don't really do this enough to be better than decent, and decent may be generous on this. And okay, that's pretty much it for storyboard lesson. And everything else, which was something, okay, there we go. And it was the design exercise to create a storyboard. So we're going to name it assignment number 2, create a storyboard, and I didn't copy all of create. And then you are going to share it with me, by sending me the invite. Okay. So that's pretty much it. Again, this is using the Hakeem College Spirit Store as an example. If you have another thing that you're wanting to work on, for this example, go ahead and do it. It can mean more whenever it's something that you have a personal investment in. But since we're doing Hakeem College Hawk Spirit Store for part of a longer term assignment, we can go ahead and get started on this. So let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.